The Motor Dream podcast is recorded on Camaragal land of the Eora Nation. It always was and always will be the lands of the First Nations of Australia.
This is the Motor Dream podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 33 of the Motor Dream podcast, the show where we can dream just a little about what our dream garage would be if money was no issue whatsoever. I'm Connor McNally and thank you as always for joining me. Over the last few episodes, I've been very fortunate to have been able to chat with a number of high-profile guests who have been doing great things representing Australia across many different disciplines. But for this episode, we've decided to go back to basics and go down the grassroots path of motor racing. Now, we've previously covered the exciting spectacle of the Hyundai Series X3 XL category through Matthew Hull, the Nugget Project, and that was a fun chat. You can find my chat with him in episode 11 in the Motor Dream podcast library wherever you listen to your podcast. But for this episode, I decided to go back down this path by chatting to two siblings who not only race in the category in their native South Australia, but are making a positive impression off the track in both the media and administration side of the sport. But first, here's the premise of what this podcast is all about, especially for our new listeners. I tell my guests that one day they wake up to discover that they've received a text to tell them that they need to check their bank balance. They then open up their bank app and they suddenly discover that they have become instant billionaires. As soon as they discover their newfound fortune, they get an email from this mystery benefactor that tells them they can spend anything that they like and they can buy any car, bike or machine that they want. There is a catch though. They are only allowed 3 cars, bikes or machines in their dream garage. Sounds easy, doesn't it? But trust me, as my previous guests have told me, it is very difficult to decide what they want. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast itself wherever you listen to your podcasts, and be sure to leave a review and tell us what you think of the show. And also, be sure to follow us on our socials, which we'll tell you more about at the end of the show. Now, not everyone that wants to go motor racing has a billionaire type budget to go and do Formula 1. Unless you're Lance Stroll. It's also difficult to find the budget to go and do something like sports car racing or even supercars on a domestic level. But for those that are looking to start out in the sport, the grassroots level of motor racing is the perfect place to find your footing. In Australia, there's a plethora of categories that cater from the up-and-comers to the gentleman racers. But for those that are looking for bang for their buck, the Circuit XL racing category for Series X3 Hyundai XLs has fast become one of the most popular categories over the past decade in terms of grid numbers and competitors. In fact, outside of the Toyota Gazoo Racing GR Cup, the XLs have become the most popular one-make formula in Australia, even outranking the HQ Holden class, which remains a state-level favourite around the country. It's a class that caters for the young and experienced, and in recent times, it has gone as far as attracting 2 members of one family into the class in their native South Australia, who have since gone on to do some impressive things in the sport as a whole. If you've heard of Mr. Dusty on YouTube, then you're likely to have encountered the talents of Matthew Totani. Along with his sister Lisa, the Adelaide siblings have since become a popular addition to the Circuit XL category both in South Australia and nationally. Away from driving, the pair's talents have extended into different facets of the sport. For Matthew, the Mr. Dusty YouTube has taken off on a life of its own, as he delivers a behind-the-scenes look at the sport with a real aspect of humour by hamming up his Mr. Dusty persona. Whilst for Lisa, she's gone down the officialdom side of the sport. Not only has she been a regular volunteer as a flag and or track marshal at state and national level meetings, a role that has since expanded internationally, she's also become involved in category management with TCR Australia. It's a role that she's been doing for the last couple of seasons. Prior to that, she was involved with Supercars Media. For the pair of siblings that grew up in a family that had completely zero interest in the sport, that is all the more impressive. They fell in love with the sport in their teenage years by playing V8 supercar games on PlayStation and Xbox, and they wanted to get closer to the action by getting involved by volunteering as officials. In 2016, they got that opportunity to do so as officials at the Bathurst 1000, where they camped out in their cars and soaked up every waking moment of the experience. From that point on, the motorsport bug bit them, and bit them hard. It led them to build their own Excel race cars and become active participants in the Circuit Excel series in South Australia. And to this very day, they remain as passionate about the class much like they did when they first joined. When I caught up with the pair earlier this year in February, we talked about all things Excels, Mr. Dusty, and also the then immediate future of TCR Australia, which Lisa still remains a part of. And their individual dream garages were a nice mix of Japanese JDM glory, supercars excellence, and American muscle. I will leave you pondering for the moment what they might be. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy my chat with Matthew and Lisa Totani. Matthew and Lisa Totani, welcome to the Motor Dream podcast. It's great to have the first siblings on the podcast. So great to have you guys on.
Yay, first siblings, best siblings.
I like it. I don't think we've done anything like this before, like in front of a podcast. So you're the first one, and it's good to be here.
Thank you so much. And you guys have been involved in the motorsport game for quite a while, on not just a grassroots level, but also on a national level in many different facets. But I love the fact that you guys are involved with the grassroots side of things, with Circuit Excel racing, not just in South Australia, but nationally. This must be something that really is close to your heart, doing Excel racing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it probably started because Lisa found a way into it with like a training learning program in the Hyundai Excels many years ago. And I think I was kind of like, I was on the Gran Turismo 4 and I was like, oh, I like cars, but how do you do it in real life? And I think, Lisa, you kind of got it all started, didn't you?
I think the way that siblings work naturally, the younger sibling always seems to follow what the older sibling does. And that's been the case right from our whole lifetime. I had got a PlayStation, you had to get a PlayStation. I'd get a toy, you'd have to get a toy. And I was already volunteering at the time in motorsport and did a junior development program, which is another fantastic volunteer organisation. They use Excels, bring a lot of young people into the sport. I did that, and that was sort of my way in. And then it was just natural that you followed, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that you guys you follow one another. Who's the elder of the two, just out of curiosity?
Oh, well, actually, that's a good question because a lot of people think or ask if Matthew's older.
Everyone thinks I'm old.
I'm older by 3 years.
Everyone, I mean, no, I'm 23 now, and you're 26?
We'll go with that.
27 now.
You don't give away people's age.
Sorry. Now you got it. Now you've got it. First time.
I know. Let's just say that Lisa is 21 with about 6 years of experience of being 21. How about that?
Yeah, and
we all had that.
So
Yes.
I was 15 when I first did that junior development program, and you were 14. So that is amazing how time's gone that quick. Because I remember that like it was yesterday. That was the first memories of jumping in the car at Adelaide International Raceway, which is now unfortunately pretty much closed down. But it's come such a long way.
Yeah, well, I've been to Adelaide International Raceway, and even then I was shocked at how dilapidated that place was. I went there for a drag meet when I was working on Speedway years ago. I think it was about 2016. And I was just shocked. It's like out near Virginia way, so it's like northwestern outskirts of Adelaide for those that don't know where it is. And I was just horrified at how dilapidated that place is. It was just scary. And then I think there were snakes around and everything else. That's not a nice place to be, I hate to say it, but it's nice to see that South Australia's now got the Ben Motorsport Park. Malilast has come back online by virtue of the Shahins owning the circuit. It's a great time to be in motorsport in South Australia, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And not to give a plug to anyone, but I think the organising promoters of the South Australian Championship have really put in a lot of effort over the last year, 2 years to really revamp it. Entry numbers were quite down for a while. A lot of marketing and a lot of work has gone into making it a really fun event. And I guess they're always trying to reinvent the wheel, which I'm all for, new ideas.
Yeah, even like our local racing, like, and one of the things like with the XLs, like we keep coming back because we love the community. Like we've got massive grids, a good bunch of people, and it's just like that's the addiction in that grassroots section of it.
There's something about Excels that I really love, and it's not just the big grid numbers because it's reminiscent of the old HQ Holdens. I know HQ still run as a state level category, but it just seems like that the XLs are now the natural successor, and those numbers bring together a huge community of not just drivers, but just, families get together by virtue of that. You're a great case in that. And yeah, the racing just comes out naturally. That's close, competitive, and everyone's having a ball doing it. Why is it so addictive?
Oh, well,
For me, it's because it's accessible and attainable. Like, I think everyone has always said an XL was my first car. My grandmother had an XL. I think it's something where you can truly relate to. I'm not mechanically minded. I can't even put Lego together, but you can do the basics to the car yourself. And I really feel that relevance is so important. You can access it so easy, which is why I think it's so popular.
Yeah, especially for people that are striving to do motorsport, and I've got it many times, and now I've got a place I can, relay that on YouTube. I love that I can go to a track, I can be not as stressed, I can film what I'm doing and show to people, hey, this is what it's like. If you want to go grassroots racing, like, this is what it's like. And I like to showcase the moments that we have during the on and off track, because there's nothing better than thinking on a Thursday, I'm going to go out for the weekend at the Bend, be with my best mates and go racing. Best feeling.
I'm going to be a race car driver. That's what people want. They just want to be able to, I think for guys especially, they want to be able to say, I'm a race car driver. You don't need to know what type of car I drive, but
I'm just going to go on the turf and just hit someone by accident.
You can't say that. Well, you just did. But actually, I love you mentioned that you've got your YouTube channel, because Mr. Dusty is your alter ego, Matt. Where did the whole idea of Mr. Dusty come from? Because I've seen some of those videos, not just on social media, but also on YouTube, and it's very funny. And it just brings, I guess, a wilder side of you coming out. So where did that idea of Mr. Dusty come from?
Yeah, it all started back in those early Gran Turismo / sim days, I would call it. I used to do these league events, and they were half live streamed on YouTube. And I had a PlayStation controller, didn't have much going on with an actual steering wheel. And I did quite literally golf track quite a lot. I wasn't the best at first. And the commentators of that event nicknamed me Dusty because, well, I kept going off track and I caused dust apparently on track. So that name stuck in the gaming world of things. And then when it came to coming out and doing YouTube videos at the track, and I was like, well, this is a name I've been called for so long, so let's stick to it. And it's funny now because, well, at the track as well, like people, they go, oh, Dusty, how you going? This, that. It's not Matt or Totani. And essentially now I said, look, if I'm going to have a business named after it, it makes sense because it's been that motorsport relevant name for so long. But I needed to break away and also have, a fun page because I love doing the fun content as well in motorsport. So obviously we've got Dusty Media, which is all the professional digital stuff. And then we've also got the fun page as well. But people come from all aspects. They come from the Mr. Dusty page to actually want professional content. So it's amazing how it all ties in.
It does tie in very nicely because you're now doing not just the Excel stuff in South Australia, and you're also now doing TCR stuff. And we'll talk a little bit about TCR as well because, Lisa, you have an involvement with TCR. But you're also doing, I think you've been doing a bit of stuff as well for Airtime Media with Neil Crompton. Would that be right?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay, because I know you've had some work with Priya Richards, who you've helped coach as a driver, and you did quite well. She learned quite quickly off you, and she had a lot of fun racing in Excel last year or the year before around Malala, and she was just having a blast.
So, but I was going to go back to that. So Airtime's obviously running all the Toyota Gazoo media, but funny enough, my biggest client base is in the Scholarship Series and the GR Cup. Right. As of last year, we just had so many clients. So that all ties in with. I see the Airtime guys all around, and they're great people. But I do my stuff freelance. But with Priya, she does work for Airtime, and funny enough. And this is funny. I meet half the people from motorsport through watching TikToks and stuff, and I'm pretty sure, she and I was talking about some of the TikToks I was making on TikTok messages, and I was like, oh, it'll be funny one day, like if you actually go on track, do you want to do it? Is there something you're interested in? And she was absolutely over the moon about doing it. So essentially, the first time we ever made it happen was we had a friend called Maisie Place.
And we want to get Maisie on the podcast as well. Maisie, I've reached out to her. She's interested, but just trying to get that time to actually organise and get her on the podcast.
I will push her for that because she has some cool stories. But actually, I have to go back to that because I remember we actually decided that I said to her, do you want to jump in an XL? Like, have you had a chance to go out in Victoria? And she'd done a bunch of hire karting, but she never really had the opportunity to go on track. So I'm like, okay, well, we've got this Circuit XL open day for newcomers. Why don't you just fly to Adelaide and you can jump in the car? And it was as simple as that. So I think Clay was giving her manual lessons a couple of days beforehand. And she flew to Adelaide, and I said, look, I'll jump in the car as a passenger. Let's document the experience and let's see how much time you can make up throughout a day. There was no pressure. It was a beginner's session at 4 of them throughout the day. and she got out there. She was cracking some really good times at the end as well. Like I didn't have to say anything to her. I just sat in the passenger seat, let her drive, and it was just such a fun day. And what's funny enough is we came into the pits on like the last session, last lap, and the gearbox actually failed right then and there. It had oil like leaking out of it. I'm like, well, that, and she was freaking out. She's like, oh, I've ruined the car, I've ruined the car. I'm like, no, 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 it's just done its thing. It's XL's braking. You've ticked off all the boxes today, and she got hooked after that. So then we then did an RX8 test day with Maisie, and I think she's just been doing test days in an I-30 and all that stuff afterwards, which is fantastic.
And you've also done a rally as well. That you did a Hyundai rally event recently as well with Priya. I think
Yes.
you were the navigator, she was the driver. How did you two go?
So we luckily were able to switch. I let her do more driving than me because she just loved it, and I'd done the rally a couple of times. Lisa was going to do it with me, but she was busy with Bathurst International. So once again, caught her up. I said, "Look, you have an R30N. My sponsor Peter Page Hyundai would love someone that could be be with me in the car."
Mm-hmm.
And she did so well for someone who didn't know Adelaide roads. As a navigator, I was pretty shocking. We did make a couple of mistakes, like wrong directions. She was a better navigator, but she did most of the driving still. And I think it was more of a relaxed event, but we were in an I-20 and a little bit of a different car to what she has.
Yeah.
And just the perfect person for it. She's a great content creator, so she's helped me out in that side of things. And honestly, just driving wise, we just had a blast. It was 3 days of action, such a great event and a relaxed environment.
Lisa, I bet you're a bit jealous that you didn't get that opportunity to do the rally with your brother.
Yeah, it would have been the second year.
Second time.
Yeah, they would do it together, but work comes first. So I had equally as just much fun at the Bathurst International.
Explain your role with TCR Australia, because you've been involved with that series for the last couple of years. There's obviously been a considerable change in recent past where Australian Racing Group has now relinquished the rights, and obviously is now a hunt to find a new category administrator for that series, but it is going to continue no matter what. But TCR is just one of those series where it does provide some really, really good racing, and you've been at the coalface as one of the category administrators for the last couple of years. Explain your role within TCR Australia.
My title is category manager, I suppose. On the day-to-day, I deal with everyone's phone calls and answering people's questions, and I guess just making sure that it runs smoothly on the ground. And actually, in all honesty, I've never seen a category that's had so much, not social hate, but so much negative press around it. Obviously, grid numbers haven't been the best at times in the recent past, and it's something we're always constantly working towards, but you can never fault the racing with TCR. Like any of our races and highlights, it's been incredible to watch. And even the 12-hour over the weekend, like it wasn't record grid numbers, but as long as you've got 2-3 cars in the battle at the same time, then you're up for a good race regardless. But yeah, TCR is so market relevant. People are driving these cars on the road. A great global platform that you can jump in any car around the world and do it. And yeah, for that reason, I love it.
They just hate front-wheel drive. That's the problem.
Yes.
They don't know what they're talking about.
Well,
don't shame it until you try it.
Well, exactly. I love TCR. I've been a fan of TCR from the very beginning. I've got to admit, when I was working with the company that did the facilitation of the production of TCR back in 2019, it was AEVE, who, of course, got the broadcast rights for SBS in 2019, that very first year. I thought the racing was fantastic, and I still think the racing is fantastic now as it is back then. And yes, you're right, the numbers haven't helped, and it has copped a lot of negative press, but I think, in my opinion, they're a bit blinkered by the fact that the racing is there. There's been a lot of good drivers that have come through the TCR field, and yeah, we've seen some really cool names. I'm a bit of a fan of the class, and I hope that it still has some relevance in the Australian motorsport landscape. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this year's a massive change. Obviously, a new promoter, which will be or might be announced whenever people listen to this. So, and then obviously moving to a few supercar rounds, which will increase exposure. We've got the World Tour coming back, which is huge to have an FIA category come join us locally on the grid. It was such a success when it was in Sydney and Bathurst a few years ago, and it's actually happening at the Bend. So really cool to have it at the local track. And we're also heading overseas twice, which you don't always get the opportunity to do. So there's a lot of different things happening. learning a lot of new things, and hopefully all the drivers and teams and new competitors come along for the ride.
And of course, we've got the Gen 1 cars coming back into the class through the Kumo Cup, which is really exciting because it gives that entry-level aspect of TCR. So hopefully that'll bring those numbers back, and I'm pretty sure it will.
Absolutely, yeah. There's so many good cars to be used. $1,500 entry for a supercar round, so you can't beat that. Obviously, the motorsport has its costs that go along with it,
Of course.
but yeah, Kumo Cup will be a good thing to give the older generation cars a bit of a lifespan.
Yeah, maybe I'll lease a car. Hey, there you go.
Speaking of which, your recent video, I want to touch on that. The recent video of when your car blew its engine 6 minutes before the end of the 4-hour race that happened at the Ben Motorsport Park. And let's talk about that. You partnered with Maisie and Emily Duggan, in that 4-hour race. And how heartbreaking was it for the whole thing to have died 6 minutes before the race finish?
Really heartbreaking. I think Emily came over the comms, and when I say comms, it was a phone call that we had going the whole time. If anyone goes back and watches the broadcast, they will cheekily see me take my glove off and redial the phone call under safety car. I hope
Motorsport Australia didn't hear that.
no one heard that. But so she came over the comms and said, "Hey, I can't get past 3,000 revs." And what I said, "I'll just keep going, keep like slowly going to the end." But what I should have said was, "Come in," because the engine was absolutely
You killed it.
cooked.
You slaughtered it.
A piston exploded internally, basically, and chewed it up with it. So yeah, disappointing, but I love those girls. We had so much fun that weekend. The car did double duties, and I can't wait, obviously, to do a round. Maisie wants us to do a round in an RX-8 this year.
So I reckon Maisie's going to do an XL round. Lisa will do an RX-8 round with me. But that 777 event was fantastic. Numbers were low, which is so unfortunate, but I hope it goes on because it was a brilliant event. It just needs the numbers. Perfect end of season and a good Bathurst 6-hour test event, you could call it.
Yeah.
But it's funny with all that because with things going so badly wrong, we made something so good out of it. And Lisa's had her first ever road car, her XL, she's had for years, and she finally agreed to let me take the engine out of it to use as a donor engine, which took a lot of convincing. And while she was away, we obviously surprised her with we told her the engine was getting replaced, but we didn't tell her the car was getting rewrapped and looking completely fresh. So that was a very, very special moment.
You rewrapped it in the Hyundai World Rally Championship colours from the early 2000s, which dates back to your time racing PlayStation, racing Gran Turismo 4.
Gran Turismo 4.
Yeah, and that's really cool. Like you to go with that retro livery, and you replaced the previous retro livery of the Peter Jackson era from the early years of the supercars. That's really cool. And I saw the video, Lisa, and you were absolutely gobsmacked by the generosity of what your brother did to rewrap the entire car and make it nice and fresh for the season ahead.
Just not something I expected. He made up some crap story saying it was parked in a really difficult spot and needed someone to help move it. I didn't think anything of it at the time. And a good friend of ours, Adrian Gallia, who has helped massively with the rebuild of the car, he was there as well. So yeah, just honestly shocked. But not unexpected, because Matthew was the type of person not to.
I can't keep secrets.
No, you're not. You're the type of person that goes above and beyond for everyone and anyone. Right. So
I just wanted to make some good content, to be honest. But and there's we are doing a YouTube series on that, so there's another part coming out. But that was cool because the thing is, yes, it's good and special. But I also finally took out an engine properly because I haven't done any mechanical work properly for a long time. I did all the work myself. Adrian let me do it, and it's good because I need those skills at the track instead of not forgetting everything. Now I at least can know where things are on that engine and play around with it if I need to. And it was an educational thing for me as well. So win-win situation.
Our hands are usually some of the cleanest at the track.
I've got to film,
I've got to socialise with people.
But paying someone to always work on the car.
Hey, you can always ask Matthew Hull, mentioning Matthew Hull, because he's a former guest of the podcast, and he races Excels in Victoria, of course, and he has a YouTube series where he built a Hyundai from the ground up, buying one from a grandma out in the outer suburbs.
Is this the Nugget Project?
The Nugget Project, yes. Yeah.
He's a legend. We love him, and I hope he gets to go racing soon. I know he's a busy man. But yeah, what he's done for the XL world as well, and he's made some fantastic tutorial videos. He's such a good bloke, and we raced him at the XL Enduro 2 years ago, so miss him a lot. We hope he comes back soon to race.
He's a lovely guy, and I'm so glad that I keep in touch with him because he's a very educational guy, and I love the story why he started the Nugget Project was not only to, I guess, encapsulate the race car build, but to educate people as well. And that was really interesting when he said there's no videos on YouTube where you can learn how to build a race car. So he went and did it himself, and because he did it all off his own back and having some help from friends and the like, it really made it very interesting to watch. And I still watch every episode that he does with his MR2 build. So it's quite educational at the same time as well as entertaining. And I'm sure you're doing the same with the Dusty Media YouTube page.
Yeah, Maddie's very in-depth. The tutorials, you could watch so many of those, and you could watch the whole series and you would literally know so much from watching his content. Obviously, my stuff, I like to just show what it's like at the track and just the fun aspects. But Matty has helped us a lot as well. Like, I've watched tons of his videos just to understand fundamentals of what I'm trying to replace and whatnot. So yeah, massive kudos to him. And I think on my side of things as well, I've said this year I wanna document every round and record every round to show that on YouTube, because I've got tons of messages from young girls and lads who are just like, look, I want to do this. Like, your videos have helped so much, just understanding what it's like at the track and what to look out for. Can you make a video on this and this? So very rewarding, very rewarding.
Your most recent YouTube short that you just did was with Phil Alexander from Raceaway, from up at the Pheasantwood, I think it was.
Pheasantwood. I call it Peasantwood by accident. That's what I used to think it was pronounced. I love that place.
Yeah, it is a good place. At Marula, just outside of Goulburn in New South Wales, and you acted like the typical father who gets very fired up when their son gets penalised or whatever. It was so funny. Explain the backstory of that.
Honestly, the backstory of that, I said to Maisie, I'm going to do something with Phil. Like, I thought about it overnight because we were too busy getting cars and trailers. And I literally had the idea in the morning. I was like, well, let's do another skit where it's like what you hear at the track, because I work in the go-kart world and I hear it enough. And I just said to Phil on the day, mate, you got a second? Let's go to race control. I'm just going to act like an angry dad. Can you just act like you're trying to reassure me not to do that? And we'll make it an educational video by the end of it. And we just literally handballed that. Some stuff you're just like, oh, that can work. Let's just do that. And it just turns out how it is. And the spontaneous stuff, sometimes the best stuff. Phil's a great bloke. And gosh, he's like a 20-year-old in my heart.
And what about you, Lisa? Do you get roped into that sometimes? Or do you
try? I actually don't. I would. No, I think I'm too politically correct, to be honest. Because I'm always the one organising things. I'm too politically correct. But I wish I had the same personality and openness.
I think Lisa at first was a bit worried. She thought I was going to ruin it for myself. And you never know. But I've made my fair share of whoopsie daisies, but I've figured out what's
Hello, what's going on? Let's hear it. Let's hear it. We need to.
What did I do?
Not caught, but like you got a few messages about the child labour video too.
But, you see, I don't regret that stuff. The reason why is those kind of, now that I'm doing the promotion on the professional side, I actually ask civil people, do you think this is a good idea? I ask 3 to 4 people, and if I get all yeses, I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. But I think the only thing I learned, I think there was one video, I was at Queensland Raceway. I was acting like an angry flag marshal and I accidentally said Motorsport Australia. I was from Motorsport Australia, the actor. So that's the only time I've probably made a big mistake. But yeah, either way, you live and you learn. Like, we're having fun with it, and I think most people enjoy the harmless humour. So
did you get a stern phone call from Motorsport Australia?
It was Michael Stratus, my good old mate. And he's like, I won't give you a media bib, jokingly. And I was like, sorry, mate, I won't do that again. And now we're good mates now. He works for Network R. But yeah, no, it's been a pretty good journey so far. I can't wait for what comes this year.
Where did the journey of following cars and motorsport start for you two? Because you obviously are very passionate about Circuit XL racing in South Australia, grassroots level motorsport as a whole, and also motorsport on that national level. You transcend across both those levels of competition. But where did that love of motorsport come for you two?
What do you reckon?
Oh, it's not a very exciting story for me, I suppose. It was just, I remember sitting down and watching a supercars race on TV. I remember it was sort of like the Scaife Todd Kelly era. Mm-hmm. I begged my dad to take me to the Clipsal 500, which is our local event. He did. So I missed my cousin's wedding actually for it.
What? You
At the
missed your
time, I thought it was, yeah, I thought it was no big deal at the time. But looking back as I got older, I was like, why would I miss this is our eldest cousin's wedding. So sorry, David and Mallory.
Oh, is that who we missed?
Oh.
That's not good.
I don't think they'll listen, so it's okay. But yeah, he took me and then just had the initiative to get in contact with Motorsport Australia and find my local club. And I remember being a 15-year-old going out to Malala, started volunteering. Weren't a lot of women. There were a few. But yeah, definitely thinking, what am I getting myself into here? Because it doesn't look like the glitz and glam that I saw at the Adelaide 500. But yeah, from there, motorsport's taken me, I guess, all over the country and across the world. And you start volunteering and that can take you different places. So
Absolutely. And what about you, Matt?
I think there was a video game era that was like, I know these cars, I like these cars. Lisa probably pushed that because when she found the JDP program, I was like, oh, you can actually get into this stuff pretty easily at this level. And then she brought like a half-built XL race car home. Actually, she was storing it for our friend. I was like, I sat in it. I'm like, this is cool. I really want to try this. Supercar events, same thing. Just going to the Clipsal 500 back in the day, just understanding, there's this and that you can do.
Yeah, and now, what on earth is that? What's going
I think
on?
literally just fell from the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
My ceiling's falling down. There you go. But no,
you don't think it's the ghost of Richard Craill that's doing that to you, trying to jinx you?
You never know, mate. That legend's around everywhere.
He is, and he's from South Australia as well. That's one of the good things from South Australia. Richard Craill, he's just soaks in so much information, and he's done great things for South Australian motorsport as well. He's tried to keep state level racing alive, so he's another one that contributes to the success of state level competition.
Yeah, 100%.
I think he's had a chance to jump in the XL. Every year he's supposed to. He has.
He has.
Yeah.
Okay. Every year he's supposed to do the enduro, and
Nolte as well. Nolte's done it as well. I love those two blokes.
Nolte, yes.
For South Australia.
We should mention Matt Nolte. Yes, yeah. And Matt Nolte is. He's a character.
Like, don't bring up Speedway. He'll keep talking.
That's true. That and drag racing. Don't bring those two up. You'll chew your ear off for hours. So, hi, Matt, if you're listening. But I just love that. Yeah, I think from memory in your most recent video, you said that you converted your own road-going XL into that race car, which is the car that you now race, Lisa. Is that correct?
Yeah.
The special thing at the moment, which we just realised on Friday at the shakedown, is that the actual shell itself is Matthew's first car that you learn to drive. And I think all car people have this special emotional attachment to their first car. And then the engine that's in it now is the engine from my first road car. So a little bit of a weird...
It didn't blow up. It didn't blow up. We thought it would. It didn't. That's 264,000 kilometres strong.
How much convincing did it take you, Lisa, to allow Matthew to take the engine out of your first road car and put it into the race car?
The only reason that I'm able to do it is because I've been away for the last 6-7 weeks. Otherwise, there'd be no chance. It's better if I'm not there. You can't see it. Yeah. I'm a bit of a hoarder, unfortunately. So.
Oh,
yeah, me too. What about you, Matt? Hoarder as well, or you?
No, I think we've done the whole too many car things here. So we've finally got one XL gone. I just think less is more. Like, you got your quality cars. It was just too hard to move around with the front. I don't know how our parents let us do it. It's too hard moving cars around here and there. But
at some points in time, it's like a current affair House of Horrors.
House of Horrors. Sometimes it is. Like, we've had, I think, like 5 XLs here at one point, and we're starting to reduce them now slowly. But it's hard to tell Lisa to, not have too many. Because back in the day, she used to go on Marketplace and she would like give like a sob story. Oh, I'm on my P's. I got my first job. Please sell me this car for $500. I need it. But it was always a gimmick. It was all a gimmick.
I would always, I would always make a story of like single mum need a car to run around from A to B. So please sell me the car.
Buy all these junker XLs on people's guilt. There was like a family who brought this white XL off, and oh, it was a silver one. And it was just some soap story to get a discount or get it for like a cheap price, even though there was like 5 other people wanting the car and waiting for it.
Did you always get it, or was it always,
Yeah, I did. I feel bad for turning down a $400 car. I thought that was too expensive.
Well, if you get them that cheap these days, guys, take them. Or give them to me.
Or give them to you. Well, Facebook Marketplace is great. It's a great place to find those little nuggets, as Blair and Matt from or Marty, sorry, from Mighty Car Mods do. They always try and find those little cheap nuggets. So somewhere along the line,
special.
Yeah.
Yeah, always something special.
Were your parents ever interested in cars growing up, or not really?
No, that's a solid no.
They definitely support what we do, and that's awesome. But yeah, no, I think it's just kind of both of us just found our way in it. I probably followed Lisa at the start because I was like so lost about how to get into it. Like, what do I actually have to do? It's always a very daunting process to figure it out.
Yeah, I can relate to that because my parents, who have long gone now, they never got into motorsport. Well, they understood it, but they didn't get it. They didn't really understand what the sport was all about. So for me, when I was growing up, when I was about 4 or 5, and that was like very young, like watching Bathurst, and back then it was Hardy's Heroes as it was with the top 10 shootout, and then the big race itself, and you see race cam and the like. For me, that was the first moment that it got me hooked into the sport, and I would watch any opportunity that it was on. And my parents, they embraced it, they understood, and they supported what I did, but they just never really got into it. It was not their sport. They didn't understand why, this kid, growing up in southwest Sydney would get into motorsport, and now it's my life. So I totally understand where you guys are coming from.
100%. No, I think we work hard for it. Like, we use our own pocket money, and we're fortunate to have, this year we've got like some really cool sponsors that I'm able to have on board. And I think that's just, it makes us work harder for it because it is up to us. We're not going to have our parents funding anything in regards to it. So we'll make it work, and it makes us more determined to get on track.
I think you appreciate what you have, like I don't have the fastest motor and stuff, but it's coming out of my own pockets. So it's in my best interest not to damage anything. And like saying that, I think credit to them, they've indirectly always helped, just loaning a car to tow the trailer in the car, or just helping us load stuff here and there. It's not their thing, and not forcing them to do anything. So
letting me live at home.
Yeah, letting us live at home.
Hang on. Are you saying that you two still live at home with your parents?
Yeah,
we're always traveling.
We're traveling away so much.
I think we're gonna get. Well, we are. We're gonna get the first property. We'll go halves in, but she's kind of waiting on me because I've been blowing the cash on cars. So
not to get into a financial podcast, but when you work for yourself, it's very hard for the bank to be like, yes, you're a safe option.
Oh no, I know. Yes, I totally understand that.
We're both contractors or self-employed, so yeah.
Yes,
that's a fun one.
It is always fun, and it's never easy. So I totally get your pain, guys.
Yeah.
This is the Motor Dream Podcast.
You guys definitely love motorsport. It's no question in my mind. You obviously do have an interest in cars as well, which makes it even more fun. I think it makes every day for you so special to be around cars all the time. So I want to dig a little deeper into what you really like. The things that make you tick as car enthusiasts and motoring enthusiasts for that matter. So we'll start off with, individually, the first car that you drove. I'll start with you, Matt.
My first car that I drove was a $50 four-door Hyundai Excel that we found in a chicken paddock and paid a carton of beers, not $50 for. Yeah. And that was my first race car too. It only lasted like 3 rounds, single cam motor, but that was the car I was driving when I was like 15, 16.
Wow. You paid for a case of beer for $50.
But if that doesn't count, because
no, it counts. It counts. But what else were you going to say?
I was going to say that was like the crap box I brought, but I've actually got my first road car. But I had a Subaru Forester GT, and I've still got it to this day. I brought it off my friend's mum. I was like, I like this car. Brought it when I was 15 after the XL, and I've still got it today, and I'm going to be using it for hill climbs this year. So I've kind of made it into a track car.
Have you got head gaskets ready to go in case it blows?
Oh, look. I've been lucky to not have that issue. As I'm doing my oil changes and whatnot frequently because I know what Subarus are like, and I've been fortunate. I've driven about 100,000 kilometers in it already for the last 10 years, and it's still going. So, is
that an ex-cop car?
Ex-cop car as well from Victoria.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
It's got all the paperwork and stuff. So weird history, but yeah, I do love that car.
What about you, Lisa?
Well, the first ever car I drove aside from JDP stuff, was my another cousin's XL, which was a single cam around out lost.
There's a
I
common
know.
theme. There's a common theme.
Honestly, not planned at all, but funny how it works out.
It's
So,
ridiculous, isn't it? Hey,
It
sorry
is.
to not excite everybody.
No. It is exciting because it's everything Hyundai. Like, who would have thought that Hyundais are so cool now? I mean, about 30 years ago, $14,990 drive away, and now you can just buy them for a couple $100, and you can turn them into race cars, and they're so much fun. Back then and even now.
Unreal.
Yes, I know. No Mustangs or like Ferraris or anything special worthy, but yeah, picked up my first car for 300.
So the first car that you owned, obviously the first car for you that you own, Matt, is that Forester, so which you still have. What about you, Lisa? Other than the XL.
The only other car that I've ever had is a Lancer, which I drive around today. It's 20 years old this year, actually. And,
wow.
I don't know cars very well, but Lancer, there seems like a very solid, strong car, and it gets me from A to B everywhere. So, yeah, I love it.
I don't think road cars we splash. Apart from me with the Subaru, we don't splash much money on road cars.
We have the dog everywhere.
Yeah.
Our dog is a long-haired border collie, gets very dirty, and the last thing I'd like to do is make a mess of a nice car.
Fair point.
I just can't see getting a loan out. Like an i30N would be so nice, but I'm not. I want to get a property before I get a loan for a car. Which is hypocritical because we're doing motorsport, but there you go.
Trust me, once you get a home loan, that you're basically tied down for the next 30 years of your life. So be prepared, guys. Be prepared.
Yes.
What about the first road trip that you remember doing together?
Oh, Bathurst 2016 was my first time at the event, and I volunteered as like a assistant doing something.
A runner.
And there was floods. There was the Hay floods.
Yes.
There was like we were literally going through water that was like, how deep was it?
Probably like between higher between ankle and knee, I suppose. That was our first road trip. I was on my P plates. I just had my Ps, and us and another friend, we went to Bathurst 1000 together, and our friend didn't shower at the end of the trip.
It was stinky in the tent.
Oh no!
And obviously we were very young teenagers, so accommodation we were trying not to spend too much money on.
It was like a 2-person tent.
Which was big enough for one person.
It was. I didn't realize how freezing cold it was. Oh my God! I brought like just a normal sleeping bag. I don't think I slept the first night. Like it was at least it was like 1 degree.
Rookie era.
Like 5 in the morning
Rookie
to volunteer.
era.
Like, what is this?
We're throwing a lot of people under the bus in this.
No, we're not, are we? I love everybody.
No, not purposely.
I love everybody.
Not purposely, but it does get very cold at Bathurst. I know that for a fact. So I've got family up at Bathurst in a town called Eglinton, which is about six kilometres out from Bathurst as well, and it does get very cold. I don't recommend camping in 1 degree or even minus.
Never again. Well, actually, we did camp. We have camped most times we're there, but we are prepared these times.
Okay, you've learned from your mistakes. Good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the first time you guys changed a tyre, either individually or together?
No, I don't. But I remember I was quite young. I remember actually a few years ago, a friend had a flat tyre up in Queensland, and the first thing they wanted to do was call the RACQ, and I was like, no, what are you doing? Like, just let me do it in the car park. But no, I don't remember. I've never had to change my own tyre.
Have you had to change a tyre on a race car though?
Oh yeah.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, all the time. But on the race cars, I reckon that's one of those weird. That's a good one because it's one of those things I don't remember at the track doing, but we've done it.
I've never had a puncture.
I never had a puncture on track or we've had damage, but no.
No.
But the first time I took out an engine with that single cam X, it was the first time I had a full can of Jack and Coke. So I might have taken a wheel off, and don't remember, you know.
Well, you were hang on. Were you affected by that Jack and Coke? That's why you can't remember.
You were underage. Why are you saying that?
Yeah, but I had parental guidance, so it's okay.
Parental guidance.
I think the statute of limitations has expired since then because you're now adult, so I'm pretty sure it's okay.
Oh, 100%.
There you go.
100%. But yeah, I don't remember exactly the time. But
I've never had to do one on any car I've owned.
Apart from the race cars, like obviously we're changing rules on the track and all that. Yeah.
You've been very lucky, Lisa. That's yeah, okay. I'm going to be remembering you having a Jack and Coke in your first time that you changed the tyre and you can't remember it. That's actually rather amusing. What about music? What's the kind of music you guys listen to when you're doing road trips together?
No, well, we don't do any road trips, do we anymore?
We travel to and from the track sometimes. We travel. You're at different events,
Well,
not I.
she's always on the phone. Just
I'm always making phone
literally talk
calls.
TCR, TCR, TCR. Like, there's no time for music in the
Music. It's
car.
just phone
But
calls.
like for me, like I like Luke Combs country music. Anything. I call it Country Tuesday. It's every day. You know, I
What
love it.
is it about Luke Holmes that people like about him right now? I don't understand that.
It's just, well, I don't know. For me, it's that I hear some of his lyrics are so like relatable, and I don't know what it is with country. It's just like a thing of like, gosh, I'd rather be in America right now on holiday. This sounds like in Oklahoma.
You
I
want
don't know.
you want to be in Trump America right now. I shouldn't say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Don't worry, it's fine. But like, I think I don't know. For some reason, country music, like growing up in my like in year 11 and 12, were schoolmates. That was just like the thing that we always had a thing for
You
the
think
weekend.
it's the Taylor Swift
Carried
influence
on.
as well?
Ugh, no. Taylor, I would never get on the Taylor Swift bandwagon.
Lisa?
Yeah, I'm huge respect for that lady, for that woman. She's just killing it everywhere. Music wise though, like I don't know, I'm listening to Can't Fight the Moonlight at the moment. I go through waves. Anything that's like karaoke 101, is my type of jam in the car.
Okay. All right. So
What's
it's
your
like
kind of music, brother?
it's like the car play it's the car karaoke like James Corden. Is that how he
Yeah,
like?
Yeah, let's go with that.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Fair enough. What about eating in cars? Yes or no?
It depends what car. If
Yeah.
it's a shit box,
I'm always an eater, drinker. You know, when you drive manual, you're steering with one hand and food in the
Yep.
other and
Yep.
changing
Been there.
gear and
Been there.
using your right hand to change gear,
trying to grab something that's fallen off the
yeah.
seat, pat the
Yes.
dog. Yeah.
Cooking
Totally.
up like a steak in front of the phone cameras.
Have you seen that? Someone got caught
I
for
It was
saw that. I
fake.
saw
It
that.
was fake. The guy
okay.
faked it and sent it to the news, and he's a genius. But
Oh.
even while driving for the cars, well, to be fair, any nice car, like this is funny because Priya, she always said, "I'll never eat my i30N," and then she literally sends a Snapchat and she's eating an i30N like 3 months later. Like it'd been like the break-in period with the car
Do you remember
Oh.
when Gear did that episode where they did DNA swabs of what was
in
in
the
their
car.
secondhand cars?
Oh
I'd
yes.
really like to do one of those. Not saying that anything has happened, but just living in it.
That would just be that would be an eye opener, to be quite honest with you. To see what has been in that car would be it actually would be horrifying actually just to think
It'd be
about that.
horrifying.
Yes.
It'd be horrifying indeed.
What about getting your license first go? Yes or no?
No, what is it? I was doing the Vought test, we call it. I think every state's got that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, under pressure at that point in time, as a non-professional racing driver, it cracked on me. I think I was doing like 3 point. I was in like a reverse park or whatever, parallel park, and I touched the curb slightly. So I was like, I'm gonna do logbook. Made it easy, and then I passed the second time. What about you?
When I was younger, I was a massive perfectionist, with all my work and everything. So I used to put so much pressure on myself during my lessons. I used to cry in my driving lessons because don't look at me like that. Yeah, I used to cry because
No,
I
I'm
thought
agreeing
I had to
with
be
Matt. I'm agreeing
perfect.
with Matt here. I'm like, what the
I
hell?
had to be
It was a guilt trip. It
perfect.
was a guilt trip. It's all a guilt trip, you know?
But yes, I passed first time.
Mm.
Okay. Well, Matt, you got a lot to live up to now with your own sister now.
I've finally got the full license. Took me long enough.
Hang on. Now, we were talking before we started the record. You've got yourself into strife with your license a couple of times.
Oh,
Explain.
that's the thing. Like, okay, actually, I've got to first of all thank having a, let's say, racing license because it saved me as well. First time I was on my P's, the XL that Lisa's racing now, that was our first race car. It was a half-built car, and I was going for a good old Sunday drive up the nice hilly roads. A bike pulled out, and I thought, oh, this guy's trying to kind of race me a bit, so he had a little bit extra speed. Turns out it was a cop bike that was following me. So I inconveniently sped up a little bit, thinking he was just a freelance rider. Got done for 20 over, had to have 6 months off my license. And then that was a very painful 6 months, I can tell you. I wanted my license back every single day.
I bet. I bet.
And
Then the second
and then
time.
the second time, I was coming back after like a weekend away, and I forgot on your P's you can't go over 100 Ks. I was in a 110 zone. I think I was going 120, so I thought, oh, I'm 10 over, I'll get 3 points. Bad mindset. No, then I had to go to court to keep my license, and the judge actually found that because I had a racing license, I would behave and would use my speeding on track. So she let me keep my license because she knew I had racing experience and was like, okay, well, I trust that you're not going to do this again. And it was an accident. So thank you. Thank you, motorsport. But yeah, now I'm a good boy. I haven't had a fine all these years later, and touch wood, never going to do that again.
Well,
Yeah.
I've never had a speeding ticket in my entire driving career.
That's so un-Australian of you.
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I have lost a couple points once, but that's the only time I've lost points. But I
Wow.
shouldn't admit that, but that's the
I've
truth.
taken points for you. I've taken points for a friend.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, she has. Yeah, Lisa's been a saving grace.
Have you had any? Have you been any just
Not
misdemeanor?
fine. Oh, I get parking tickets all the time. Like even just in Melbourne the other week when I was there for the tennis, I thought I don't know why. I thought I parked my car in an underground car park of the building, and I was parked on the street, so I collected another parking fine.
Oops.
It's
Oops.
quite a regular occurrence.
Can't park, mate.
No.
Can't park in, mate.
You can't park and hook tennis stand, as we like to call it in Melbourne.
Yeah.
All right. What about the best car that you've owned?
Not many.
I know there's not many.
This isn't like, look, it was a crap box, but I had a Toyota Celica ST185, had that pop-up headlights. It was like a really cheap coilover spec, like nice grippy tires car, but horrible paint. And it was like a fun project car at the time. And I thought, oh, maybe I can practice respraying the car. So I masked up the whole car in the shed, thinking, oh, man, I'll just rub it back a little bit, then I'll just paint over it. And stupid me, barely covered up the shed. There is still red dust in the shed to this day.
Oh,
I made a
no.
huge mess. I had no idea what I was doing, but the paint job looked good for 2 days. My mates thought it was
horrible.
fully sick.
It was like $5 can paint.
It was like
Oh,
streaky. It was like streaky paint on
no.
the car. But I love that car. It was fun. And then the AC condenser failed, and all the coolant plowed into the passenger footwell. So yeah, that was like 20
What?
times. Yeah, I had some times with that car, but it was fun. It was a very fun car, apart from all the defects I caused on it.
Oh my goodness! I bet you don't have anything to match that, there, Lisa.
No, look, the only cars I've ever owned is that Silver XL and my Lancer. And I'd say the XL just because of all the places I went with it, all the off-roading trips, the camping adventures, the Adelaide to Sydney drives and back that I did with it. Yeah, never let me down.
Any worse cars that you have owned? Like ones that you go, I do not ever want to drive that or work on that ever again?
I've had a lot of hire cars that I get through work, and there's definitely some new cars out there which I'm like, why is this even for sale? Why do people buy these?
Like what?
Pajero Sport, the T-Roc Volkswagen, and yeah, they're probably the two major ones actually.
You know, one of the worst hire cars I've ever driven? The Toyota CHR.
Oh,
Not a fan of it. I don't like it. I don't like the rear, the rear passenger doors on it.
How can you fit anything in it with the
It's
shape
so
of it?
tiny. That
It's
and
like
the
a
Hyundai,
replica.
that and the Hyundai. I forgot what it was. It was a little.
XL.
No, not the XL. Definitely not. No, more current day Hyundai. I can't remember. It's a little SUV that they have. I can't remember which one it was.
Tucson.
Tucson.
No, not a Tucson.
Kona.
Yes, the Kona, Hyundai Kona. It was it was too tiny to fit anything in for work related stuff. Just too
Actually,
tiny.
Dad's always had Commodores, and I accidentally rode off one of his Commodores.
No.
Yeah, I fell asleep at the wheel. Not a good story. So I rode off. He had a VE at the time, and it was an SV6, good 5-speed, I think it was. And he replaced it, just a temporary car. It was a 4-speed VE Commodore, and that was terrible to drive. This 4-speed was just terrible to tow with. Yeah, but that's all right now. He's got another car.
Yeah, don't fall, guys. Make sure you sleep. Don't go on a long road trip to Melbourne.
Yes, make sure you're rested.
Please, yes.
That's right.
Wow, that's very interesting.
I know. Sorry to drop that bombshell.
No. Well, that's
You know what the first person said to her? You can't park there, mate.
Best road trip you guys have been on? Well, guys, I'm sure you've had enough. I know you drive to and from the racetracks and that, but is there one particular road trip that stands out between you two?
That one that we've done together. Oh,
I mean, I haven't
we haven't driven
You know what?
maybe just coming back from The XL Nationals at
Coming back from XL Nationals, like those after race weekend trips. I think anything after a race weekend, like if it's been a good weekend, you reflect on it. I also really love. I've done it with Lisa, but I'm sure she will eventually. Going from Canberra to Maria, where Maisie lives. The Maria and Bateman's Bay is such a beautiful area,
I don't
and
know if you're saying that right.
Maria,
Is it?
Maria,
Maruya.
yeah. Any New South Wales countryside's beautiful.
It is. It is.
You surely you're from New South Wales.
I am from Sydney. Yeah, I've done the drive. Like I've done. What have I done? I've done Bellslider Road. Brilliant beach road as you go into the Blue Mountains. Great Western Highway. I mean, that's straightforward. Everyone can do this. And even the drive down to Canberra. I mean, that's boring as.
I know.
Yeah,
No,
but
the Hume is terribly boring.
It is awful. It was one of the worst roads, in my opinion, in New South Wales because it is just so straight and you can fall asleep behind the wheel with that because it is just a terrible road. But like I've done trips to Tamworth, I've done trips down to Albury. They're seeing some good drives down. So
Tassie roads. I did Tassie for a month. I took the car on the boat, and those roads were incredible.
Wow.
I know that well because I had to go to Symonds Plains for the first time last year, and I flew to bloody Hobart instead of Launceston. So I got my first rental car, MG3, mate. That thing barely made it up the hills, but I got to explore the sights and sounds of Tassie.
I want to do Tasmania. I really want to do Tasmania. It's that's a place I really want to actually do the roads around. Maybe even do Otago one day if I really had the money to do it. So I want to do.
Say, like, having done the Adelaide Rally, I don't know what Matt thinks about, but I would love to do tarmac rallies. I'd love to build a car for tarmac rallies. I know very dangerous, and a lot of people have lost their lives and stuff, but even just the small little piece, 10% that we get from the Adelaide Rally, I would love to do it in a competition.
I think our next step will be rally, or tarmac rally, like something that we can do together. Sell the XLs and build a car with that. That would be cool next thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. What about pet peeves like stickers on cars and spoilers and stereos? Are you for it, against it, or is anything that you don't like, putting on cars?
I don't like when the back of the windows have like JDM, like cool stickers, like all those like
all the chops.
Chop. Yeah, the chop. Like I love my car mods and all, but all those like here's my family and all that. I just like especially on a race car, some people do it. It's like hopefully it gives you horsepower, but yeah, good on them. I think presentation is important. And unfortunately the reality is like I get a scuffed car a lot with all the battling at the front, and even Lisa's car needed a redo, so presentation is pretty important to us. Yeah.
I can't stand ugly rims, ugly spoilers, just aftermarket
Chrome
stuff
rims
that are just ugly.
Like the CSA wheels and stuff, like on a nice car.
Yes.
Like, settle down, cowboy. Like get some nice
fake
wheels.
Bonnet scoops and anything aftermarket that doesn't belong. Yeah,
make it real.
I agree with that.
LG can keep it real.
When people have all their toys on like the front dash.
Oh no!
Mum used to do that as well. Like,
Mum used to do it in the back window. Yeah.
No. That's just as bad as having the box of tissues on the back.
We used to have that.
Yeah, we used to do that.
Yeah.
That's a common trait in a Toyota Camry. You find that everywhere in a Camry.
It is. Yeah, that's about it. But I respect what everyone does. But
Fair enough.
I think none of those crazy silly stickers on the back windows.
All right. Going on with that trend, what's the weirdest thing that's in your cars right now?
The weirdest thing in my car.
I've got my LED sunglasses sitting peacefully in my glove box. Wow, what else?
I've got none. I've taken everything out. I've got battery, jump starter.
Well, you need them for a 20-year-old car or something. So
this isn't weird, but I keep fire extinguishers in all my cars just for the safety. But sometimes in the boot they just roll around. They come off and they roll around everywhere. So I'm waiting for the day they explode.
Matthew always had a packet of condoms when I used to come back from interstate.
Well, hang on.
In the glove box.
When I used to borrow a car back in the day, and her XL that were parting out, I found obviously my old Johnnies that I left in the bat. Couple of years expired now, but like when I borrow the XL, there's a reason why we put the coilover suspension in it.
Whoa, that's were you doing things in that car that you really shouldn't be doing?
No, don't get the DNA swab tester out.
Prepared.
Yeah, I'm professional about it all.
Okay,
But I mean, apart from that, like I like a tiny car. I don't like to clutter things too much.
fair enough. Okay. Last thing, do you name your cars? And what are your thoughts on people that do, like Paul Morris, for example, when he names his race cars like Earnhardt and the like?
I like it. I think you build a connection with your car. I do name some of my cars like Lisa's car's actually called Cameron because it was a TV show character I liked at the time. That that was like, oh, that's it, same name. My Subaru is called Michelle because the owner was called Shelley, so it kind of rhymed, but it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't named any other cars to be honest.
I think naming cars is all right. It's that fine line of like you name it because you got an emotional connection, or that bad side where like I'm gonna marry my car. You know, if you're watching, what's that show on Foxtel? Like My Strange Addictions type thing.
Yeah.
It's that fine line. But I think naming it for a connection's okay.
If it's like a chassis name for the race car or something, I can get it. But yeah, there is a fine line.
I wouldn't talk about my car in a named third person way though, or first person.
Yeah, but before a race, you might be like, all right, we got this, or like you might talk to your car, and like, come on, we got this, like during a race. But I think a name's good. Like Sebastian Vettel did it. He was one person that was really for it. I think it's a good thing because you put a lot of prep into this stuff. You got to give a little bit of an emotional connection to it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a very good point. Actually, I forgot about it. Sebastian actually named his race cars for a
Every
period of
single
time.
one. Yeah, I'm gonna call the next one Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
What about your car? Do you have a name for it?
I haven't got a name for it at all. I haven't got a name for the Focus at all. Or at the moment, it's just completely stripped out. It's being built with the cage and everything at the moment. It's been built to Group 3E specifications, although just finding out that they're now going to AASA on the national level, that's going to make things a little bit interesting. But
Yeah.
I'll deal with it when it comes around. So that'll take at least another 6 to 8 months before that goes on the track. But I'll be doing track days before I start racing it anyway. So
Who does your cages in
in New South Wales,
area?
I think it's AGI Sport. So Adam Gotch, who
Oh,
runs
yeah.
AGI Sport, yeah, he does the roll cages
Makes
and that.
sense.
So and there's a guy that actually used to work for the Lansdale Racing Team, or Tasman Motorsport as it became later
Yeah.
on. Peter Hennessy, who races in Improved Production in New South Wales, he's helping me build the race car. So he knows my car quite well, the XR5. So he's worked on the car in the past. He's actually replaced a lot of the intercooler and the cooling stuff because it decided to perish on me. Like the pipes had not been replaced and it was starting to perish and it was getting
Yeah.
overheated. And I said, Pete, just go and replace everything. It cost me almost $5,000 to replace everything with silicon pipes and that. But it was.
It'll be worth it once it's done. Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah, but that was a long
always-
time ago. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting out there and having a fang in a 5-cylinder front-wheel drive, 2.5-liter turbocharged Volvo-powered Ford. So that'll be a lot of
Amazing.
fun. Yeah,
Really
really cool.
excited for you too.
All right, Matt, Lisa, this is why we got you on the pod. You wake up one morning and you get a message individually and it says, guys, please check your bank balance. And you think, okay, this is a scam because there's a lot of scams around. But you decide to go and check your bank balance for the curiosity of it, and you discover that both of you have been given a billionaire budget. So you've become instant billionaires. You don't know how or why. You just find this money that's just been dumped into your bank account. So you become billionaires. You then get an email from this mystery benefactor, and it tells you can buy any car, bike, or machine that you want. But there is a catch, though. You're only allowed 3 cars, bikes, and machines in your dream garage. So with that in mind, what is the first car that you would like to have in your dream garage? I'll start with you, Matthew.
I'm going to think practical as well as fun. I'd go with a Subaru WRX 22B. I think it's just the end all of all Jap cars as the first car.
Okay, the Subaru RX 22, the 2-door, I take it.
The two-door, the highest model. I mean, just obviously the Colin McRae era, the Pro Drive era sticks out so much to me. We've got 2 here in South Australia I've seen, and I don't know, it's not the most exotic thing in the world, but it's just perfectionist in terms of that era with World Rally Championship. I love it.
Yeah, the 22B, like it, wow. I mean, that's the World Rally era, like 97, 98. And I know Poston Board raced one here in Australia during the ARC era, so that's really cool. And I think they made, it was built to commemorate Subaru's 40th anniversary, as well as winning the third manufacturer's title for Subaru in the World Rally Championship. So there was 400 Japanese units sold out in 30 minutes within 48 hours, which is just ridiculous.
You've got a place called S&J down the road. It's like a Subaru tuning company. They've got two, and I think one of them cost them like $500,000. They're $500,000 car now. It's a collector's item.
It is crazy.
By a stance, yeah.
Oh my goodness. And the engine itself, I mean, let's face it, it is the EJ22G motor, which is just crazy. Like, it's a 2.2 litre motor, double overhead cam, and of course it's a boxer motor, but the horsepower that was producing, close to 300 brake horsepower. But when you add the power to weight ratio and the all-wheel drive system in that Subaru, I mean, that goes really, really hard. So
it sure would. It sure would.
What about you, Lisa? What's your first machine?
Oh, I'm just terrible with cars. I don't. I would. This is gonna. You're gonna like. Everyone's gonna shake their head. I would really, honestly, just love a perfect yellow XL. Anything.
A little nugget. There's nothing wrong with that. That's
anything
a really
yellow.
cool.
I don't know. Something.
Maybe like an Audi. You know what? Yellow XL.
And I'm massive hot hatch fan, which obviously makes sense being TCR category manager. But yeah, I don't know, like a Golf GTI. I've driven a GTD before.
I think a
That was
Civic
really
Type
good.
R would suit you. A
Yeah,
yellow
Civic
Civic
Type
Type
R.
R.
All right, how
Yeah.
about this? We'll put in the Civic Type R. How about that? The TCR spec? TCR spec, like the same model as the TCR car, or an earlier model?
Actually, I really love this. The early 90s Civics.
The EKs.
The EKs.
EK or EG Civic.
Let's have a look at the Civic Type R. Hang on.
It'd be like the refined version of an XL by a mile. Of all hot
I
hatches.
agree with that. I agree with
Still-
that.
still
Oh,
very
yeah,
positive
okay. Yeah,
outcome.
you know what? I've seen them race in production cars.
Type R.
Yeah, the Type Rs. Yeah, I think that would suit you nicely, Lisa. That is a really, really cool, the EK models, based in 1997. So, yeah, 6th generation Honda Civic. Let's have a look at it. It's 1.6 litre front-wheel drive, producing close to 180 brake horsepower with a close ratio 5-speed gearbox. It's the B16B 4-cylinder engine, which is really, really cool. 5-speed manual. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 6.7 seconds with a quarter-mile time of 15.3. Top speed 225 kilometers an hour. Yeah, I think that suits you nicely.
$1 billion price tag, it will do the job.
Say again?
$1 billion price tag, it'll do the job.
Oh, absolutely. It will do the job beautifully. So, yeah, I think you'd be fine, although you might have to do an engine swap. I don't know. You might do an engine swap and might make it a bit faster. Do a Mighty Car Mods conversion maybe somewhere along the line.
Maybe.
What about the second car, Matt?
For race car, always stuck out to me. I've watching the Bathurst 12 Hours, my favorite car. It would be a Lamborghini Huracan GT3 or Huracan's Super Trofeo. But let's go with GT3 because I love the sound of them. It's such a beautiful race car. You don't see many Huracans racing in the GTs here in Australia, but when you see them, amazing cars.
Oh,
they are just drop dead gorgeous.
GT3 Evo 2. I mean, they are just, and of course, on the weekend, Bathurst 12 Hour, Grand Denier and Wall Racing race one, and they won their class in the Bathurst 12 Hour. That is just so cool.
Yeah.
1,230.
Coolest livery as well that they had on their car.
Yeah. 5.2 litre V10, Audi spec V10. 1,230 kilos, so it's obviously with balance and performance, and yeah, it's built like to go racing. That's the thing. It's like a fighter jet. I've always loved Lamborghinis for some reason. They're just they're like the Huracans, and yeah, they're just so cool.
I don't know. It's got that Lamborghini compared to Ferrari's always got that little bit more of aggressive feel to it, and also like from their color range. But yeah, they are sensational cars to look at.
Absolutely. What about you, Lisa? Second car?
Seeing as we're going with the exotic cars, during my Top Gear era, I always loved the Paganis on
Sorry, I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah.
We've got one at the Bend at the moment too.
Oh, that's right,
So,
you do too.
You haven't even seen it yet, have you?
No.
Yeah.
I've seen the McLaren Senna. I mean, that is just so beautiful to look at. But the Pagani Zonda. Ooh.
The Zonda R. Is it? I remember there's a Top Gear episode, and I think we're
That's
watching
right.
it.
That's right. The
Ooh,
Zonda
yeah.
R. I don't mind the Zonda. That is, Yeah, because there was only 15 that were produced of the Zonda R. So it's a very, very rare car.
Very rare car.
It's more of a track day car, powered by a 6-litre Mercedes-Benz V12 with a 6-speed sequential manual transmission provided by X-Track. Just looking at it, it's a carbon fiber chassis, which is it'll be so light. It'll go up against the likes of the Maserati MC12 Corsa and also the Ferrari FXX. So obviously it's got a lot of Mercedes mechanicals in it, but my goodness, it does look so good. 740 brake horsepower and 7,500 RPM. And just looking at the performance, top speed 375 kilometers an hour, accelerates to 100 kilometers in 2.7 seconds. And it can brake from 100 to 0 in 96 feet, which is about 29.3 meters. So it's got some go. That thing is
not good enough. It's just not good enough for me, that braking distance.
Exactly. All right. So Lamborghini, Zonda for you, Lisa. What about the third car in the Dream Garage, Matt?
All right. First sports car always stuck with me. The Dodge Viper ACR, the last generation one. We had a massive wing on it. And it was just the Viper, for some reason, is that big American wild horsepower. Probably not the best track car, but makes all the noise, has all the looks.
Hang on, so the Dodge Viper ACR. ATR, okay.
ACR.
ACR, yep.
Yeah, last generation one was it's sad that they stopped making them, but such a cool car.
That's interesting, because I think when they stopped building them in 2017, so the Dodge Vipers went from 1991 to 2017. There was like a 3-year break in between 2010 and 2013, but the fact that it lasted almost 30 years. I mean, that's a great lifespan. So
fantastic.
And of course, powered by that Chrysler Hemi V10. Oh, like fantastic. Heavy car. Terrible on brakes the first few generations, but they finally got it right. But it should have won Bathurst, I think. It should have won a couple of those 3-hour races that raced during the late 90s.
Yeah. We've had one that was doing Tiger Taz and Adelaide Rally, I'm pretty sure. A couple of years back, they got banned for being too quick. So
wow.
Yeah.
What about you, Lisa?
Well, sticking with the American theme, actually, not copying, but another Top Gear.
Okay, so hang on. So stop. Let's stop for a sec. Top Gear. Where's the link with you and Top Gear here?
Look, I used to watch every episode on TV. I used to collect the magazines. I was a bit of a super fan, I suppose, and that's where I guess I got all my automotive knowledge, I suppose. So if you can even call it that. I
thought you were going to say that too.
You thought I was going to say this car?
Yeah. You're going to be like, what?
It's like they had a Top Gear special. They were going through the southern states of the US, and they had to buy like cheap $1,000 cars. And it was I don't know who had it. I think it was Jeremy.
Clarkson had it.
He had this 3rd generation Camaro where I think from memory they strapped a bull or a cow to the roof as well.
I think I remember that.
Just the look of the car has always stuck out to me.
So the 3rd generation Chevy Camaro.
Yes.
Wow.
I know nothing about the car. I've never seen one.
You just liked it. It looked good.
It just, yeah.
It was a budget car, but it looked pretty cool.
I actually knew someone years ago, and I'm talking about 30 or so years ago, when I was probably as I was approaching my teenage years. I was a paper boy for a period of time, and I used to deliver to this customer, and he used to race as well. He used to race sports sedans on a state level in New South Wales. And so this was in southwest Sydney, so in the suburb of Punchbowl. And he had this in his driveway. I think it was a Pontiac, but it was the same shape, that 3rd generation Chevy Camaro. Yeah. And it was built between 1981 to 1992. So it replaced the 2nd generation, which everyone remembers as Kevin Bartlett's Channel 9 Camaro and that. But this one was a 3rd generation. So like that very wedge-shaped kind of look. And it is, yeah, I remember it because it's so crystal clear as day. Yeah, I think it was white with gold trim as well. Like not like as in solid gold trim, but like had the lines and that in gold and everything, and had gold wheels. So yeah, and of course it was the 5 liter. Well, I think it was the 5 liter V8 or 5.7 liter the 350. So yeah, it's just I understand the the concept that, it's the 80s muscle car look, wedge shaped, no care about fuel regulations and the like. I get it. I think it would suit you nicely. It would suit you nicely driving along the highways in Adelaide, I think.
Maybe our pothole filled.
I love it. That is a really good garage. I think that's really, really cool. I love what you guys have just told me. Like the Civic Type R for you, Lisa. I mean, we could have gone the Hyundai XL, but we went the Civic. The Zonda, the Lamborghini, the Chevy Camaro. There's so many different cars. It's just
I don't think it's about the most expensive, but it's about what you kind of seen over the years, and that's something I one day would dream to own. Even like the Civic, gosh, that'd be like a pocket rocket. You find a good one.
That was too expensive, that hot hatch. That's why the XL was a good alternative.
Yeah.
Although, mind you, the Golfs are pretty good. Although a Golf R, I would like to own a Golf R, but they're expensive. Even getting one second hand, it's not cheap either. So,
but a lot of cars.
Yeah, but we can dream, and it's just great to talk about cars with like-minded people that share that passion, and you guys have that passion, and it's been great to have you both on the podcast. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on and give us your time, to talk about the XLs, about your career in motorsport, and also what your dream garages are. And I hope your successes continue, not just in TCR, but also with Excel Racing on a state and national level. And thank you so much again for coming on. It's been really good to chat with you both.
Thank you for having us. It's good to speak with someone like-minded too, and someone who's also come through grassroots and understands the bottom of the pyramid. And
I can't see what the next 12 months hold. The motorsport season's back. It's going to be busy, and that's just how we love it. And some good things coming.
I think it's so special being able to share it together. So
fantastic, guys. Thank you so much again, and all the best of luck for 2025.
Thank you.
Well, how about that for a dream garage? For Matthew, a Subaru WRX 22B STI, a Lamborghini Huracan GT3, and a Dodge Viper ACR. For Lisa, a 1990 spec Honda Civic Type R, a Pagani Zonda, and a third-generation Pontiac Trans Am from the 1980s. These Totani siblings sure know what they're talking about when it comes to cars. And their passion for motorsport was oozing throughout the conversation. It was quite refreshing to listen to them share this passion that they found as teenagers and have pursued together into adulthood, and they have supported one another ever since as they have taken on newer opportunities within the sport. I suspect that we'll be hearing much, much more from the Totanis in the years to come. My profound thanks to both Matthew and Lisa for giving me their time to chat with me for this episode of the podcast. You can follow Totani Racing on both Facebook and Instagram, as well as Mr. Dusty on YouTube. You can also follow Matthew and Lisa on Instagram respectively, and you can now like and subscribe to Matthew's new podcast that he co-hosts with Adrian Cottrell, the Hit a Wall Podcast. We'll put up all the links in the show notes, as well as the Motor Dream Podcast website. The website itself is at www.themotordream.com.au, where you can listen to past episodes, find more information on each of our guests, and also on the show itself. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram with the handle The Motor Dream, and you can start a conversation about your dream garage by using the hashtag The Motor Dream. Or better still, drop us a line on what your dream garage would be. Is it the same as the Totanis, or is it something a little different? Let us know at themotordream@beastproductions.com.au. Lastly, make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or YouTube Music. Thanks for listening as always, and please remember to drive or ride safely out on the roads wherever you go. We'll be back for another episode in a couple of weeks' time, where we'll feature twice-class winner of the Bathurst 6 Hour, Carly Pacini. Until then, we'll see you next time on the Motor Dream Podcast. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Motor Dream Podcast. This series is proudly produced by Beast Productions.